Hey, everybody. I'm Gary McLean, and you are watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the Talent Talk YouTube channel today. As always, your support is appreciated. This is actually our first show back in nearly a month. We took a bit of a summer break, and I think everyone on the planet, has been kind of anxious and ready to get out of the house and away from their computers a bit. So we decided to do the same. But here we are. We are back now, and I think we'll be here right to the end of the season, which is scheduled around December. So please remember to keep tuning in every other week, maybe on occasion every week, depending on how the guest list goes. Another reminder that this is a live and interactive show. So if you have any comments, questions, just want to say hi, maybe, feel free to throw it into the comment section, and we will try to address it as the show goes on. Now, tonight's guest. He's literally a jack of all trades. I mean, he started as an AC maintenance engineer, um, just, a couple, 10, 12 years ago, somewhere around there, a little while ago. And then he got his private pilot's license at the age of 17. And then he breaks into the film scene in 2015 on a little known project. I think it's called The Revenant. That's what it was. Since that time, he has built up a huge resume as an actor, stunt actor, production manager, and has even delved into the arts department, transportation department, just to name a few things. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Stephane Legault.
Woo! Hi, everybody.
How's it going, man?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's been a hectic time period, but in good ways. So
Yeah, COVID's been fun.
great. Well, you know what? It definitely did put a bit of a burden over us, last year. But I'm really happy with how the second half of this year is starting out, and just hoping that trend continues.
Well, definitely for film, it's looking great.
Right? Absolutely. So let's start off with a little bit about you. You. Where's my fingers? There we go. You. Um, where'd you come from, man? You born here? You born out east? Where are you from?
No, I was one of those Quebecers, born in Montreal, and then yeah, a lot of my family on my dad's side still there. And I was 12 years old. I was lying in bed, and my parents divorced when I was 7, and my mom lived with a man in Ontario, and then I'm like, you know, I'd love to learn English. I think it's my future. I can't stay in Quebec and just, speak French. And I always wanted, for me, I had this ideal of playing football in high school and having the girlfriend and the car and graduating as a jock. And sure enough, that's what I did. We moved to Kingston, Ontario, graduated high school there. And I was playing football. I had the high school sweetheart. I had the car. I had the job. And it's funny because I used to work for Lone Star Cafe and in downtown Kingston, and I was destined to move out west. So after 3-4 years of college, after that, I moved to Alberta. Actually, we were supposed to go to the coast, but we stopped in Alberta because Garth Brooks was playing that summer in Calgary, and we thought, what the heck, we need to see Garth Brooks, and we never left. So here,
Nice.
26 years later, here I am.
I have to ask this question, going back to your high school years. I'm going to guess before you give me the answer, though, and that was the kind of car you drove. I've got Charger in my head.
It's funny. Okay, you're very close. You're like 50% there. I had an 82 Toyota Tercel, but it was painted lime green Mopar color, sublime green. So it was the Mopar 70s Mopar lime green color and matte black. So yes, you're kind of 50% there. It wasn't the car, but the color was a Mopar sublime green for sure. Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Was it
Yeah.
manual or automatic or?
Manual. Oh yeah, it was manual. I had to go through. I was one of those, kids that had the speeding because I had my pilot's license at 17. For me, I had like I didn't want to. for me, I don't know. I wasn't in the cards to buy a Corvette or some sports car. For me, it was a cute little car, but I had to have the manual transmission to feel
Right.
that it was going fast.
Right. Right. Well, so again, going to that question about the pilot's license. Um, once you fly a plane, I mean, what's a car?
Yeah, and it's funny because the little planes that I learned on the fly was like, if some of the people are listening, a little Cessna 150, which is like a scooter, of a plane. Then I flew some 152s and a Cessna 172. The 172 is like, not the Corvette, but it was definitely a much faster car, like a fast sedan, like an M5 maybe. Maybe it's exaggerating, but it'd be 172 is a gorgeous plane to fly. But that one Cessna 150 is like a 1968 Cessna one, and it's literally you could barely take off, right? And you're like, you could literally get your hand out the window and help yourself, like they're paddling air to get faster. But it would still go like 140 miles an hour. So when you're on the ground and driving a little car, going 80 kilometers an hour is boring as hell. So yeah.
So did you move? Like, did you do anything else with your pilot's license, like
Well,
afterwards? Or?
funny, my biggest regret, if we're gonna go there, was I wasn't able to join the military. I tried to get into the Royal Military College in Kingston, and you have to pick basically what part of the military you're going to join: the Navy, Air Force, or Army. And for me, it was Air Force. I wanted to be a helicopter pilot or flying planes in the military, and I wanted to be a civil engineer. So going to military school, basically you could do the two, and then in summer months you're training as a pilot, and then you do your practicum in engineering. And unfortunately, back in 1992, we had in Ontario a bad economy, and all the rich, well, not sorry, some of the rich kids now weren't able to go to university, so they're going to military school because you had a great engineering degree, you had a free room and board, you had to join as a reserve, so you worked the summers, you made $3,000 per summer, so it was a good way of getting your engineering degree but not having to go to university, and having free room and board. So I was the last one, called it August 9th. I'm still waiting, and I'm thinking going to military school, and they sent an email to my parents, said, "I'm very sorry, but your son didn't make the cut. We got too many applicants that year." So because I was the oldest out of a whole bunch of stepbrothers and stepsisters, I didn't know that you could just apply again next year or mid-semester and just maybe volunteer or whatever, join the cadets, and then you're a shoe-in for the following year. But I did not know that. And so I said, screw you, military school. So I went as an aircraft maintenance engineer. And so I did do aircraft maintenance after all. And I became an aircraft maintenance engineer, technician. And then I was trying to get in as a pilot. And then after that, the economy is still the pits, and I went into business school, and then I realized out west there's money to be made. In Ontario, it's not going well. The economy is the pits. So I left. My brother, my best friend, and his brother, we all took off and never came back.
Okay, so they all came with you, kind of.
Yeah, we all decided,
Yeah,
as the four of us, let's get out of Ontario. It's not meant for a young guy fresh out of school. There was no business. There was no opportunities. It was really tough back in the early 90s in Ontario for the economy. So, yeah.
Okay. So fast forward, now you're in Calgary, and what are you doing?
So, came to Calgary, I did some sales. I met a lovely lady, and we had some kids, 3 kids later. Unfortunately, with divorce in 2006, Kathy and I are still friends, really good friends. And my fiance, Shauna, as we'll talk about, hopefully, my awesome spouse. But even actually right now we're at the farm, and Shauna and my ex-wife, Kathy, is cleaning up the kitchen and getting us set up here. We just moved in. So and then I did some sales, and the beauty thing that about when my first job was a traveling sales, and I traveled all over central Alberta, met a lot of farmers and business owners in small towns, and I really got the feel for what Alberta is all about, and I fell in love with it, and was never able to leave because I fell in love with it. And I was always like that Quebec or Ontario redneck. And when I came here, I fit right in. So
Oh yeah, no, absolutely right. Yeah,
yeah,
the only place you could fit in a little better is probably Red Deer. Um,
yeah, I know. I love Red Deer, but Calgary is better for film. Yeah. And
right.
and then I own. I'm a business owner as well. I have a construction company, and I do mostly demolition these days, which is a lot of fun. Commercial demolition, and as you mentioned earlier, in 2015, it was a fluke. My brother calls me out of the blue. We'll make it a very short story, but and actually, I will mention a name because if Allison Lockwood is listening or anybody knows Allison, hi Allison. You are the blessing in my life because you got me started in the business. And Allison talked to my brother, and she was looking for French Canadians with beards back in 2014. And my brother said, "Well, my brother is a French Canadian. He has a beard and he has horses." And she goes, "Can I have a picture?" And then, sure enough, he sent a picture. He goes, "Yes, he's perfect." And that was back in October. Next thing you know, my brother, blah, 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 we go on, and I'm waiting, never get a call from Alice. And then Christmas time comes around, my beard's getting massive, and I tell my brother, this lady never called me. Because no, she'll call you. I'm like, no, I'm gonna shave. No, don't shave the beard. So after Christmas, I come back, go, brother, I need her number because I really need to shave this beard, or I'm gonna be in this movie that she says I'm gonna be in. So she my brother says, "Oh, she said not to share her number." I said, "Give me your goddamn number." So he gives me her number. I call Allison, and she's a sweetheart of a lady. I said, "Allison, this is Stephane. Listen, I'm about to shave my beard. Are you going to use me or not?" She goes, "Oh, whoa, whoa." I said, "Good timing. It's January. In a few weeks, can you be at the Springbank Airport for an audition for a French trapper?" Excuse me. And then I said, "Well, yeah." So sure enough, it was like I thought she forgot about me. And then I showed up at Springbank Airport, and I thought it was going to be there's going to be a whole bunch of French Canadians there. And sure enough, there's only out of 20 guys, only 3 of us. And then we get scooted away. And then this is where the story gets really good. So we go to Kananaskis on the backside of Fortress Mountain, and then we're supposed to meet Alejandro Di Naruto. So I don't know who Alejandro is. I'm a construction guy, and I don't know anything about film. And that's the funny thing. Still to this day, I don't know a lot of things about film. I know specific things. But if you're going to quiz me about certain actors back in the 70s, 80s, or movie lines, wrong guy.
Yeah.
So anyways, so we go there, and it's bloody cold. They told us to dress as trappers. So I had a fur coat on, and I was trapper to I was a perfect guy. And so we show up there, and we are greeted, and then we asked to stand in a line. It was kind of crazy in the snow, -40 at dusk, and we're waiting and waiting. 30 minutes later, some AD comes and says, "We're really sorry, but the director just was nominated for Birdman." And so he's on a limousine ride right back to Calgary. He's jumping on a plane, like private jet, to California. And I don't think Alejandro is listening, but Alejandro, you're a great guy, and thank you for the opportunity. So anyway, so he's on a plane to LA to celebrate this nomination. And we're like, okay, I don't know who this guy is. To be honest, I didn't even know that DiCaprio was in the movie, because I'm just showing up, right? I'm just, somebody told me to show up. So then they said, sorry, but we're going to go in this little cabin. There's the lunch shacks. They look like chalets. You could cook your own food on the backside, on the riverside, there in a little park on Kananaskis Road on Highway 40 there. So anyway, so we're in there, and they say, just audition, and then we just say a few things, say your name, and then at the end, we're going to have a little scene where pretend you guys are drunk and you're talking French. And so I kind of hooked up with this guy, French Canadian guy, and I said, "Hey, you and me, let's just do the old French, like the old, we call it le joual. It's an old French slang from back in the day." And sure enough, right in the front, boom, we did that. There's a French Canadian guy, AD, said, "Stephane, you guys are the real McCoys. We want you in this movie. I will make sure that Alejandro sees you guys first, blah, 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 blah. Great, awesome job, blah, blah." So we ride all the way back to Springbank Airport. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Allison calls me. She goes, "Stephane, I have great news. They want you. You're in the movie." I'm like, "Okay, cool. So when's that?" "Well, sometime in February." "Okay, well, call you next month." She says, "Don't shave your beard." I'm like, fine. So here I go. I'm driving home, and I was dating a gal. I said, "I'm going to be in this movie." "Oh, cool. Whatever. Whatever. Got to be in the movie." I'm just a background guy, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, so sure enough, February comes along, and then I get costume fitting, and this is all foreign to me, and like, whoa, this is cool. So we get to set, and it's 3 days, and we get to set, and our scene is I'm in the Revenant, and it's the French camp scene where the rape scene. It's awful to say, but it's the scene I'm in. An hour and 52 minutes in. So if you guys want to go check me out, that's when I'm in the movie. So we go there anyways. We have a great time, and then we settle, and then we're just going to be background. And the AD said, okay, they want some singing and some some ha ha ha. Okay, good. And then after like 3 hours of this, and he said, okay, you guys are going to meet the Alejandro. Oh, the famous Alejandro. Okay, whatever. So they say, okay, but he wants like some singing and stuff. Who could sing? I'm like, I could sing. And they go, oh, perfect. So he said, you guys rehearse what you're going to sing, and we'll come back in about an hour or so when, after they did this scene with DiCaprio. So they come back, and I told him, I said, my dad, when I was a kid, he met a comedian in Montreal. And this guy kind of made up these songs. Now, he's nobody famous, just a comedian guy, like really a no-name. And he had these sing-along songs. And he'd sing along the famous ones, but he created his own. And they were short little bursts of, like two-liners, and then people would repeat, and then he cut them short. It's like a joke song. And then I sang those, and they loved it because it was a burst of like 5 seconds, not even 3 seconds. And they said, perfect, because it's perfect for camera and it's perfect for a scene and blah, blah, blah. So they could hear us singing, and we're laughing and singing. All of a sudden, Alejandro comes running back. He goes, guys, I love the energy. You guys are awesome. Who's singing? I said, me. You will not stop singing for 3 days. For 3 days, you're going to be singing. And I'm like, yes, sir. So I don't know, that I'm not supposed to talk to the director. And then, anyways, long story short, 3 days of me singing. I meet Alejandro and Chibo, his cinematographer, and they talk to me and they ask me, are you comfortable with the camera in your face? Can you say these lines? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, yeah, this is fun. Not understanding any of this. I'm just here to have a great time and be French Canadian. And 3 days of this goes on, and we're singing our hearts out. And then I going home at midnight, Alison Lockwood calls me and she goes, Stephane, I just found out you guys just wrapped. I said, yeah, it's really late. And we were doing these wild sounds. And what do you mean these wild sounds? Yeah, I've been singing for 3 days. And she goes, you've been doing what? Yeah, Alejandro and I are like buddies. Like, he's asked me to sing and do things. And I was wrestling horses. I met John Scott, which is some guy, old guy. And then he's asked me to wrangle horses. And people she's like, what? What happened? Like, I said, I don't know. They love me. And I'm like, oh, did I get in trouble? And she goes, no, this is so awesome. Go to bed. When you wake up, can you write down everything that happened? I'm like, well, yeah, but it's going to be like 3 pages long. I don't care. So then the next morning I have coffee and Bailey's. I'm living life. I'm like, I was in a movie, right? And then I write this 3-page thing, and she calls me back by lunchtime. She goes, Stephane, everything is on your paper is true. They looked at the dailies, and yes, you did all that. So now the great thing is you went from a background to an actor. I'm like, what? You're going to be an actor in The Revenant. I'm like, what? Whatever. That's awesome. She goes, well, you made instead of $1,200, you made $6,600. Holy crap. Can I do this every weekend? And she said, well, maybe, but you better get yourself an agent. And because she's going to have to explain to you the paperwork and all that. So anyway, got myself an agent and signed me up. And then, yeah, they were trying to push for a wrangling credit as well. And it's just, well, the Teamsters got a little bit upset at that wrangling. It was far-fetched, even though it's on camera. But you being a nobody to actor on The Revenant is a big thing. And it, for me, is like, whatever. I made good money.
Right. Yeah.
And then my agent says, since you have a stellar start to your movie career, would you like to do this again? And I'm like, but I'm not an actor. I don't have the chops for this stuff. And she goes, well, we could try. Well, if we can make that kind of money, I'll do it again. And sure enough, I didn't have the chops for this. I was French Canadian. I could do a French trapper really good. And then back then, back 2015, I didn't know anybody. And then through the business and then doing a lot of background stuff and some SSE work. And because I'm fit, and I'm still fit to this day, I I met Julian Black Antelope, which helped me start my career. He helped me with locations and transport because I had equipment because of my construction company and locations and I got into the art department and construction department. And thanks, Julian, if you're listening. If you're not, like, kudos to you, Julian. Believed in me and gave me a head start. And then Benjamin Hayden Ross. Obviously, I was in the Northlander, and he was trying to make me an actor, but I didn't have the chops for it. And I told him, I said, can I just be a really cool guy in your movie? And he was really good to me. And Carolyn McMaster. I'm just going through some of the producers that helped me, but Carolyn McMaster obviously helped me, and Margot McMaster. And then lately, Jason Wan Lin, and is a phenomenal guy. And they all believe in me because Shauna and I have been putting a lot of effort in this business. We love it. And then thanks to you, Gary, we've got to work with you and my kids, my stepkids. So these are all the producers in town are beautiful people, and we all have this energy. And we, because Calgary suffered for a few years, right? Vancouver and Toronto, we're always trying to compete with them, and things got dry here. And we all trying to stay busy, and we all became a family, and we all helped each other out. And thankfully, with my construction business, I was able to offer a lot of things to a lot of you guys. And it was fun for me because I was learning, and I really enjoyed the movie business. So anyways, there's a short story into a little bit of why I'm here.
Right? And that's an awesome story about The Revenant for sure. And I'm going to have to watch it again now, but I might just skip to that part.
But it's funny. Okay, but this is the scene. So you'll see me like this, and I finish my song, and I have my cup like this. An hour and 15 minutes. I have the screen to myself in an award-winning movie, and I do have the screen to myself, and I go like this. I'm a little bit like that, actually. So, yeah, I'm in there, and I'm on screen and by myself.
Nice.
And you'll hear me sing for almost like 20 seconds.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
we are at the 20-minute mark, so I just wanted to throw out to anybody who might be watching again that this is a live show, so feel free to comment and ask questions. I assume you're probably pretty good to continue on for a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
So let us continue. So you actually touched on you gave me a couple of segues. Let's start with the segue of you and Shauna, and just even the family a bit. Like you're basically a film family now.
Yes,
it's kind of turning out to be.
I met Shauna on a Julian Black Antelope production called Consume, and I love that show, and I hope it sells, and I hope it becomes a bigger show. So Julian introduced me to Julian didn't introduce me to Shauna. Shauna was on set. She was a stunt actress, and she came on set driving a minivan, soccer mom. Shauna, the amazing mom of 3 daughters, and so she kind of she was wearing tight jeans, and Shauna's a gorgeous lady, and I'm like to Julian, hey, who's that? He goes, well, that's the stunt actress. Wow, she's single? He goes, never mind, she's got a boyfriend. I'm like, oh, darn it. Okay. So anyways, Shauna and I, we met on that show, and she was dating someone at the time. And it's funny because that someone is a dear friend to all of us, and we could all talk about it and have fun with it. But Shauna and I met, and then we both had 3 kids, and she fell in love with the fact that I had my daughter on set also. My daughter, Sophia, which does a lot of some catering and small film and some crafty. And and that's why we met. And then it was always hey, I have 3 kids, you have 3 kids. We're both in the film industry. Why don't we just hang out, And it all kind of came together. She needed to move to Calgary because of the film industry. I said, hey, funny enough, my big acreage, the people are moving out, and I'm moving back into it. Long story short, I was living in the city and moving back. I got rid of my horses, and I said, but you could have the whole main floor, and I live in the basement, and we could be friends and with benefits, maybe, And hey, we're adults, right? And then after a while, Shauna says, boy, do you want the job? I'm like, well, what do you mean? So what do you want to be dad? Like the man in the family. And I said, wow, you know what? I'd love to be, because you're an amazing woman. The girls are amazing, and my kids love your kids. And it was very easy. We never forced. We never say, hey, do you want to be my? It was always like we kind of fell into it. And the fact that we both in the business, and we understood like the long hours and the auditioning and Shauna's girl was like, they're all little actresses. Cameron Pliva is a little bit of promotion there, but she's number 4 on the call sheet of Joe Pickett. She's Joe Pickett's daughter. Kiera Pliva is, Jan Arden's niece, Jackie, not Jackie, sorry, Frankie, on the Jan Arden show. And then the middle one right now, she's done some little things and she auditioning like crazy. And so we are a big family. And then my older kids are not really interested, but my son now is like, hey, Dad, you do stunts and it makes good money, and I'd like to kind of drive cars. And well, you're 16 now, I'll get you hooked up. I kind of know some people. So,
Right.
so now we've moved to High River. We bought a little hobby farm west of High River because a lot of things are happening around here, and we have room here now. And, yeah, that's the family. For us, it's always been family, and the farming is family. And my mom moved in with us to help us with the kids and help my mom out and stuff. And she's 71 years old, and so it's always been family business for me. And even my ex-wife is Apple now, and she works for us. And we got her hooked up in the film industry now. She's helping with COVID monitoring with Shauna, and so it is like from ex-wife to my fiance to my stepdaughters. Yeah, we're one big family, and it's important.
And so how did you get started with the stunt side of it? And like, did you and Shauna kind of start that together, or did she start?
No, actually, funny because it intrigued me, and Julian kind of gave me some stunt days and helped me with in the Northlander and stuff, and being very physically fit. And I've done a lot of some high rise work and some challenging work at elevation and my past, and I'm fit and played some sports, hockey and men's hockey, and so I football, and so I could throw my weight around. And so Julian felt confident that I have the skills to do it. And then I met Adrian Young on the set of Hold the Dark. And then we're talking finally, sure enough, Shauna, it was a fluke because Shauna and Adrian are best friends. And then next thing you know, now I'm kind of in a little bit with the stunt world. And then I met Stephen McMichael, and then it just kind of, became a thing. Guy Buse now, he lives down the street from me. We're not great friends, but I could call him a good friend, and I got some work from him. So yeah, I've been working, and Ron Weber is a phenomenal guy as well. Worked with him as well. Shauna's worked with Ron a lot. So all these the great guys in town here, and I've been able to work with. And because I'm at my age at 48, I'm still fairly fit. It's a good fit, because I don't do a lot of stunt work because I can't compete with a 20-year-old, but I do well. I do well.
Well, staying fit, I'm sure it definitely helps. Myself, I'm a little bit past my prime for stunts. So, although I had to actually talk to Shauna about that and trying to get into it, and then yeah, I mean, because growing up as well, I was also into the sports. I was into the football, the hockey, and all that kind of stuff as well. So
Yeah,
it's not like physical fitness was new to me. It's
right.
just no longer exists with me. So, so it just doesn't.
Everybody has a
Yeah.
different path, right? So
Right. Yeah. Totally. Totally.
yeah.
Um, so can you tell us a little bit, because I know you actually did some stunt work on Black Summer as well, and
Yeah.
maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience on that show and the actual
Well, the
maybe some of the
first
scenes
season
you
was
did.
fun. Yeah, the first season we did. I was a zombie, and then I wasn't a zombie, and then I did some stunt doubling, and that was kind of with Adrian, kind of my introduction to the bigger budget stunt stuff. And then in the second season, I had my own stunt acting debut, call it, I guess. I had my own scene driving a truck. It was crazy driving, but I got yanked out of the truck and beaten pretty much to not beaten to pulp, but it was slammed to the ground. And so it was great. That was a stunt acting day on Black Summer, and it's a lot of fun. I got to work with Guy Buse personally. That's when I knew of Guy, and Guy we had met in some training. But Guy got to work with me and realized that I have the potential to be, a stunt guy. I mean, again, I don't have my skill set is limited, but so that was really cool. And then since then, now it's kind of the comfort level, and I know that Adrian is able to hire me and feel confident. And that's the thing about stunts is knowing that that person has control of their actions and movement, and they won't get hurt or get somebody else hurt. And that's the biggest thing with stunts. It's not, all the, I mean, some people are martial art people, some people are high falls, some people burn, some people are drivers. For me, my skill set is kind of the guy that either a thug or gets, beaten up. So that's easy for me to do. And then, but I'm able to take a hit, fall to the ground without hurting myself, and look good doing it. So these are the important things that a coordinator looks for.
You know what? I was going to look up something else here. I really should have this stuff prepped before I start the show. Oh yeah,
Hey,
I remember the other one I wanted to ask you about, because it was actually a how shall I say, it was a project I really wish I was actually a part of. Let's just put it
right?
that way, and that's Miracle in East Texas, and
Yes.
I think you guys were all kind of.
Kevin Sorbo, Sam Sorbo, John Ratzenberger. I'll just mention a few names, but Jamie Quattrochi, John Duffy, Jason, and then all these people. Gosh, that movie was so much fun. Kevin Sorbo and Sam and John Ratzenberger, like they come on set and they're like, I hear that Sir Anthony Hopkins is the same way, but they're so friendly. They talk to everybody, and they're there to have fun and meet everybody, and everybody's a big family. And that movie and all the crew, it all came together. It was kind of a rushed, but we got some, they call it a tier B and tier C people in the industry because it was busy summer, and but those people were like really craving to do something great, and we did a great little movie, and we had so much fun. East Texas was the Miracle of East Texas. Yeah, it was a blast, and fortunately, Kevin Sorbo and John Duffy and Gene Catrucci are coming back here in September, and we're doing another kind of a thriller movie with a fair size budget. That's all I'll say. And then, luckily, Shauna and I have been made associate producers on that movie. And so now I'm at kind of, I'm moving up the ranks, and
Nice.
thanks to Jason and Scott Jones from Alberta Film Projects, another amazing man. We're very, very fortunate, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So Gary, since I'm kind of the bigger cheese now, maybe I could find you a spot.
Well, I just I kind of heard as the movie was going on and the production, talking to people that were on set and everything else, and it's just like you said, right? Like everybody had this feeling of it was just really fun set to be on. It was family oriented, like in terms of how everybody got along. So I was like, man, that'd be awesome to be a part of that. And then of course I saw some behind the scenes photos, and yeah, no,
Oh,
I was a bit jelly. I'll admit that.
yeah, and that was pre-COVID, where anybody could come to set and visit, and we're having people visit all the time, and Kevin would have fun. My mom would visit and hang out with Sam Sorbo and sit in the TV in the tent, and then watch, and those days were awesome, and we had a great time. And Sean, I got to be John Ratzenberger's personal assistant to help him throughout the show, and his driver, and she was also my transport captain. And John Ratzenberger is a phenomenal man. And for some of you that don't know who the younger crowd, he's Cliff Clavin from Cheers. Us, the older guys, were like, yeah,
Definitely
and
no.
he's
Yep.
on 99% of all the Pixar movies, right?
Yeah,
So
all the Toy
Handy
Stories.
the Pig, right? So John is a great guy. We stay in touch at least once or twice a year. He's a unicorn man. We call him Unicorn Man. John, I don't think you're listening, but if you are, we miss you, and the girls still call you Unicorn Man. So
See, the great thing about this show is what, because it's going to be available on YouTube after the fact, is you can always just share it with John.
yeah,
Just send him a
John,
link. Hey, there you go.
John, we miss you. Come back.
Right there we go. Yeah. Um, yeah. No, it's something you don't like. Honestly, like I know the film industry is a fun place to be in general, but I honestly don't hear as often as I would like to about the kind of experience you guys had on Miracle in Texas, right?
Yeah,
You get a lot of it. It's very serious. It's very regimented almost, right?
yeah,
And not everybody has a ton of fun. I mean, I know I just love being on set personally.
yeah, yeah.
Whether it's background, whether it's whatever, just watching the process go down and everything else, and it's all learning. It's all just, yeah, I just absorb it. But um,
Yeah, and the working with Jason Lynn and Scott Jones and those guys and Kyle Cooper and now Josh Brennan. You guys are gonna get to know Josh Brennan. He's fairly new to the business as well. But our crew right now, that's our motto. Like we're all fairly young and we want to have fun. Like movie making is about having fun and we our group of producers that we are like on for Polyscope and Alberta Film Projects. That's our motto. Like let's have fun. And Jason, if you're listening, and Kyle and those guys, I hope you agree. But that's our motto: to have fun. We're here to have fun and make a movie. And we don't look for the huge names. We look for people that have potential. And that's one thing I'll say. This is that yes, there's the greats in Calgary and there's the greats in Vancouver. But you know what, guys, and I'm challenging right now, and I like to do this without upsetting some people, but the casting director is like, guys, you got to look. There's a lot of great talent, and the tier B and C and D, whatever you want to call it, right now, they're actually going to work and getting some acting roles right now. Like, you guys got to dig a little deeper. Like, yeah, we have some great names in Calgary. Those guys are always getting the roles, but you know what? We need to, and that's what we've focused on is trying to. Like, there's a lot of people that in Calgary now that are really, really good. And it's not only the Vancouver people that are awesome. There's a lot of great people in every department because I've been on almost every department. And I could tell you this is the tier C and D and E, whatever you want to call it, because I'm making fun of it because there's no people in Calgary anymore. Like every show has used them up. So now we're like trying to find some newbies. And there's a lot of energy and great vibe and people that want to excel. And I challenge the casting directors to dig a little deeper because there's some great people out there, and it's not just the big names that deserve the roles. There's a lot of talent out there. And Calgary, God damn it, we are a great place to shoot movies. And I'll say this: we hit a record number this year. We're over $900 million in budgets for the year, and we've never had that. In the year I was in the business, it was like what $456 million, whatever. That was a record for Alberta. Also, well, we double that now, and that means we double that with tier C's and D's and E's. Because trust you me, it's not all the tier A's. Like those guys got hired early on in the season, and they got. But there's a lot more shows, and we need to really focus on new talent. And I know IATSE's recruiting hard. Every Teamsters, everybody is at DGC, and it's awesome. And they're all training because we need more. We need some quality people and a lot of new people right now deserve to be given a chance. So that's kind of my closing statement in a way, is that as now that I've hit associate producer, I will personally, and we've made it all a mandate, call it, to look and find some great people out there that need a chance, because we need to grow for sure.
couldn't agree more. And that's part of the reason I do the show, right? Is to actually highlight folks like yourself that are talented within this province,
Well,
and
thank
just,
you.
yeah,
And,
deserve
I
to
do
be
it because I love it, and for me, and now it's a family business, and I do it for my daughters and my son, and I do it, for family. I do it for Shauna, and we all do this, and we're all doing this as a family. And as we did with your show, and with let's not forget about your, yard sale. People, watch Yard Sale, download it. It's freaking awesome, and it's got great potential. And please, somebody spread the word. We need $1 million budget on this show, and I
right.
will push for that. But that show was awesome, and we got great talent on that show, and we all gave, because your budget was really nothing, and we created like $100,000 movie with $5,000. Call it 10,000, because we all pitched in, and I pitched in because my wife and my daughter was in it, and everybody pitched in, and that's what this business is about. And I know there's a lot of spouse out there that allowing their other spouse to work extra hard and work for little rates, for these little independent films. But and I don't want people to waste people's time. But if the energy is right and we're moving towards a direction and that it's good, then let's do this. Alberta is awesome, and we need to keep going. And we've proven it this year.
Absolutely, yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like the potential is unseen at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and thanks for that plug, by the way. Appreciate that.
Well, no, hey, it's all about us, man. We're all family, and we have to help each other out.
Yeah. No, absolutely. On that note, like I don't know if there was a little bit more you wanted to talk about regarding Jason Van Lame and that polyscope. I don't know if there's
Well,
anything.
and one thing I have to mention too. I have two other friends in the business that are Wayne May and Rod Coulter, and Shauna and I. We've created a small little production house because we hey, what the heck, right? Now's the time, and times are booming. We're called Mayhem Creations, and just so you know, we will. My focus, obviously, right now, my biggest focus and Sean's biggest focus is to work with Jason and Scott Jones, and because we have a lot of things happening. But I've, Wayne, myself, and Rod and Shauna, and just if you guys are listening, hey, we will get something happening. So we're trying to get some projects going. There's some documentaries that are really important to some of us to touch on. So we will, you'll see my name more and more now, and trying to promote different things. But so and Jason, I owe Jason, a lot, and Scott Jones, in believing in me, and also John Duffy from LA and Jamie Quattrochi. They gave me really a big push on East Texas Oil, and I managed two departments. But for me, managing a budget it's not foreign to me because I do it on a daily basis on a construction budget. It could be $1 million, $500,000, $100,000, $5,000 in film until you're known. Nobody's going to give you $1 million. So we made some really good contacts, and so Mayhem Creations is you're going to hear some stuff from us, and we're going to try to get some stuff going in the new year. This year has been so busy. We haven't been able to, even for Rod. I mean, Rod is in the business. Rod is an actor, stunt actor now. Rod's very fit. He's a martial artist. And we've been just too busy to start our own projects. So it's a good problem to have. Trust you me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm hoping that trend continues, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever Mayhem can put out. I want to see that Mayhem.
I love Mayhem. I mean, it's perfect name for me because on construction sites they used to call me Captain Chaos, but I do better in chaos. So sometimes it's not a great thing, but I do well. So yeah.
Awesome. On that note, I think we will call it. I want to thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your stories and dreams and aspirations. Actually, no, I do have one other question for you, and that is most memorable moment for you. And it doesn't have to be film; it can be, obviously. But what's your most memorable moment? Just a fun question.
Oh, beside my first kid, wow, I created this little angel. That's huge. Most memorable moment. You know what? A most memorable moment. Funny enough, I did work for a tactical company that I helped for. I got the opportunity for 4 weeks to train British soldiers at Suffield, and I can't really say too much because at the time I was under the government contract, national defense contract, but I could say this, that I was sitting with he wasn't a general at the time. He was a brigadier, basically waiting for a general to die so he could be, possibly nominated and was sitting there on top of a hill and with his armored vehicle, and we're having a cup of tea because the British can't drink tea and there's not a lot of coffee, cup of joe's, cup of tea. And we're sitting on these lawn chairs, and he set off basically there's 300 pieces of iron moving from armored tanks to armored vehicles to helicopters, and they were deployed, and then we're going on the next mission. And him and I was his translator, and we were sitting there on top of a hill, and it looked like real or a movie. I felt like, Arnold Schwarzenegger in a military movie or something, right? And I'm sitting there, and I look at her and goes, and we're the same age, funny enough. And I was a hired interpreter to train soldiers, and that was the one, because I always wanted to be in the military, and I don't know why it didn't happen. But I'm sitting there, and if you could just imagine on top of a hill, and you got dust and all this equipment and a roar of diesel engines and tanks and of all sizes and armored vehicles of all sizes and engineering troops with like the big tank with the big bridge that folds down and all that gear is moving out, going to war. And I'm sitting there and going, wow, that was, and I got to meet a great guy. I can't mention names just because, and he's moving to Alberta, and we're still friends, and we can't. He's gonna move to the farm for a little bit. They're established, moving from Wales, but that was the moment of you go, if you only knew that if this was a film reenactment, it would be like a $30 million day, just having all this iron moving and all this personnel in the background, and the A-10 Warthog, is all, it was surreal. And I'm sitting there drinking a cup of tea with the brigadier, like I'm the big shit. And so that was a moment in my life. I go, yeah, I should have been in the military. Biggest regret in a way, but I trust me, I love what I do. I love my family, and things are great. But that was that little thing personally that I could have been there. So
Nice.
yeah,
No, that's awesome. Again, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, on that note, I think we'll call it an episode. I want to thank everybody that tuned in for watching. Just a reminder again, hit that YouTube subscribe button, and on Talent Talk. Yeah, I think if you just search Talent Talk on YouTube, you'll find it. And thank you so much, Stephane, for joining me today and sharing everything. And
thanks,
yeah,
Gary.
I look forward to hearing more.
I know. And then the season's not over, Gary. It's going to be very exciting.
It is. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Let's talk soon.
All right, you bet.
All right. See ya.